Thank you. Welcome everybody to this April 24th DEI committee meeting. The meeting is also being recorded. We are in the police training room tonight, and we're welcoming people online as well. So we call the meeting to order, and I'll start with a land acknowledgement, and then we'll move right into before. A couple things from the We want to acknowledge that we gather in Westford on the traditional lands of the Nipmuc peoples, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people that stewarded it throughout the generations. Thank you. I read that from one of those sets of minutes, which we will take up later, and I think when we take up the minutes, we'll be caught up. Are you doing the minutes tonight? Did you want to?
I'm doing, yeah.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
I have the list of attendees if you need.
Okay.
Why don't we move to open forum? And first one, I guess, would be Donna brought over something which we can all take a look at. It's a brochure from the Department of Health. Is that right? It's about an older adult dental program, and they wanted us to take a look at it to make sure that it was responsive to the goals and objectives of the DEI committee. So, which is great. So thanks, Donna, for being our liaison to the public health department. I'm here.
She was there too. I was there too. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
It's great that they're keeping that in mind.
Yeah, it is great. And
I
that's
have a
part of our mission.
question for Melanie. How do you keep up with so much of involvement?
You're everywhere.
Right.
I just want to applaud you for all your efforts.
Right.
Madonna, I
Indeed.
acknowledge you have been involved quite a lot.
Yeah.
But why I'm saying, especially mentioning Wendy, is like, she is in so many different places. I really
I
admire
know,
your
it makes my head
contribution.
spin sometimes, but it's good. It's all
But thank you
good.
for doing
Yeah.
Thanks very much. So we'll pass that around and let's take a look at it, and if something comes to mind or you want to respond to, we can talk about that as we go. So the other item for open forum, at least I have one, but I don't want to preempt anybody else if anybody else has something for open forum.
I just briefly, that, I just found out today that that it was briefly mentioned that they needed some they wanted to look into disability accommodations at town meeting, and it's been taken over, and they're very active, and it's all sorts of things are being done, and it's really just from an offhand remark, some people stood up and really got it going, and they're doing a lot.
Catherine can speak to that. She's the DEI, Commission on Disability Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
We had outdated hearing
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
there were a lot of things that we thought were working that weren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scott, who is taking the lead on that? What did you say was?
Catherine.
Catherine Clear is the co-chair.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, to be honest, I think it's the whole group. We've a very new and revitalized commission, really wanting to be proactive in town. And I will also say, for anyone interested in more, Mike Edwards, the new assistant town manager, is his whole background and experience to date is a lot of work within ADA and disability. So he's really been the game changer and kind of spearheading this. So we're not taking all the credit, but there's definitely a lot of work and more thought being put into it. Those headsets, by the way, as outdated as they are still being used for Saturday. We're thinking about things longer term, but we have options for some of our more hard of hearing using YouTube and captioning and stuff. But I'm actually very excited we actually have 2 voters who because of their disabilities are actually not able to participate, and illegally under ADA, you have to try and accommodate them. So we actually will have a proxy voter for the first time based on some other towns that have done it. So we're it's really exciting to see that everyone is kind of getting on board. But all the graphics, that's all Wendy. She's been amazing. She's our graphic designer.
Yeah, so we just had this quick sheet that we came up with, and we worked with the town, and it's just making sure that everybody's aware of the things they need, and we were asking if anybody needed assistance well before the deadline, because there's a deadline, and last town meeting, we didn't really get ahead of it because we were still trying to get our feet under us, but it was kind of good that sort of practice run happened, because it brought to light a lot of needs right at the last minute, and we were able to address them for this go
Oh,
round.
that's really impressive.
Yeah,
So quick question on the fly, are you referring to the one that is on the town's website right now, or is it on the Facebook page? Where is it?
it's Facebook right now.
Okay,
Yeah, and Catherine, is there anywhere else we're sharing?
Westford.
no, I think this was the vote yes, I think the link was, for this, the link was on the vote yes, and if you click through it, then it will give you the options. If you need accommodations, then you do like fill up a form or something like that. Am I getting it right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we have QR codes that go to the different things that are on the town website to make it easier to find them.
Is it also on the town website though? That is my question.
This flyer,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
It's not, but I can also request they might consider adding it tomorrow.
Yeah, they should have, right, Catherine, because more people would go on town website
Yeah.
versus actually going through that link that Valerie has on the yes, vote yes, because many people may feel differently, and then they may not go to that page to access this information. So in order to make it widely available, posting it on town's website actually makes more sense.
So we just got approval on it to publish it, I believe, this morning, so.
Okay, that's
yeah,
fine, yeah. Even if today is what, Wednesday, right? So
Yeah,
town meeting is on Saturday. Do
Yeah.
you think that they will be able to accommodate people on such a short notice?
I think so, yeah. The reason we were late getting it out is plans were only confirmed on Monday, finalized for the meeting, so we didn't want to put anything out until we had confirmation. But yeah, I don't think it's a problem to ask Kristen in the morning to put it up.
Okay, thank you, Catherine, for taking the action.
Yeah, I know, I've worked with Mike Wells at 8:30 and by, 8:40, something is posted, so we can work out. That's great, thank you for that. Impressive, anything else about town meeting? We'll get to that in a second, but anything else about the accommodations or the approach or anticipation? Has everybody gotten the survey that the town sent out asking if you're gonna attend?
No.
We're trying to get a number. Yeah, it's sent out to some folks.
I don't remember, but I got the link to a different page and I did go in and then I did share that link with wider audience as well. I mean, I think that's a good take just to help with the planning process.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what the estimate is now for
Okay.
attendance, but I think they're hoping it's under 3,000. Well, it's not.
The 3,000 quitters, that's what.
3,000. 3,000 clickers?
Yeah,
3,100.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Calling all towns, huh?
Yeah.
They bought some, they borrowed some, and they programmed,
yeah,
they had to reprogram.
yeah, a lot of work, definitely. Anything else?
Alright, so anything else on town meeting? What I wanted to just bring up a little in the spirit of what we've done before, the holidays and celebrations, is to just note Passover. Sure, just to note Passover, that a few of us celebrated. We did Monday, you guys Monday?
Sunday.
And in fact, Joanne, you were at the very first Passover that we had at our house on Lambert Road
Oh.
30 years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So, and then we actually, together with 10 other families, started a temple. So Passover, as you know, you go by a book, it's called the Haggadah. but it's sort of a guide, and it talks about what Passover is, what it commemorates.
What does it commemorate?
Commemorates the Jewish people in Egypt being free from bondage.
Okay,
And if you've seen the movie The Ten Commandments, that generally tells the story. Yeah, so it gives you a good sense of it. It's about that, but it's also, I think, we try to extrapolate a little bit. We try to talk about how it's about freedom and equality. It's about the fight against intolerance. It's about freedom, not just for Jewish people at the time, but for all people who are oppressed. And there are lots of symbolism. First, you talk about the story itself, and then you go through rituals, which include blessings of the wine and the food. And then there's the Seder plate, which is highly symbolic too of the experience of freedom. And there are also the discussion of the plagues, which you remember from the movie. That Pharaoh and was punished by locusts and frogs and other plagues. Those are the ancient plagues, sort of the mythical plagues, if you will. I don't know if you found this, but I found a list of modern day plagues, which we recited, which was
Global warming, things like that.
environmental degradation,
Yeah.
inequality, homelessness, intolerance. And so we talked about that, and I happened to sort of lead it this year, and so it was a great opportunity to be able to talk about the significance of the holiday and just go beyond the core history. And on the Seder plate this year, and for many years, it's been an orange on ours. You have one. And the orange, I thought, or it probably does represent this as well. It represents the inclusion now of women as rabbis. I think that's what I was told, maybe by Rabbi Landy.
Yeah, one origin story, there's always many in the Jewish faith, and then you can argue about them, debate them, and then no one's right. Is that the original, when women rabbis entered into the Bennett, one of the men said, women belong on the pulpit, on the bima, like an orange belongs on the Seder plate. So that's one of the stories of the orange. So orange is kind of celebratory of, women, belonging, inclusion, and kind of remembrance to great women prophets. That's one story. Another story.
So in our celebration, the host, I don't know if she had read this or decided this, but she decided the orange would signify the LGBTQ community as welcome in the Seder plate. And if someone found a seed in their orange segment, they were supposed to spit it out as signifying spitting out the seeds of oppression. So I thought that was, I really liked that addition of the symbolism, in addition to all the other things that are in the Haggadah, that were interesting to contemplate.
You mentioned that was it on the Haggadah, or there was a pamphlet that said Jewish?
Yeah, there's a book, cookbook called Jew-ISH, which gives some more modern takes on
there are
the
lots of
Passover celebration.
modern Haggadah that you can draw on. Another thing that I read in one of the more modern Haggadahs online was that we have there's a cup that you put wine into, usually a silver ceremonial cup, and it's for the prophet Elijah. I think I get this right. And not that I don't know the entire history, but the purpose of it is he represents a stranger, somebody that you invite into your home and doesn't have anybody or anywhere to go. And so you pour some wine in the cup and you open the door and you welcome Elijah in to join you, which is, I think it's, again, you can sort of expound on that a little bit.
We always set a plate for Elijah that no one sits at, like it's just there welcoming
That's what you all do.
Elijah.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, so
So it's
thanks for
kind
sharing.
of an interesting.
We should, yeah, that's a great one.
tradition, just to leave a plate open.
At the
like-
very beginning.
Yeah.
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 That's
You
great.
know, I thought you were going was that at our town meeting on Saturday, they're having pizza on the food trucks and we can't eat pizza because you don't need any leavened bread on Passover. So maybe just bring this up with the pizza. We could just bring our own food.
I think so, we can do that too. I'm not eating bread because I'm low in calories, but carbohydrates.
So how many days do you not eat bread after Passover?
8
days?
days entirely, yeah.
Oh. And I'm just kind of relating it for leaving a plate in a place where nobody's eating. It's very similar to what we would do in Indian tradition. There are certain prayers, certain days in the year where we pray, we would worship, and then we would lay out a plate, a full plate for God, and we would not like touch it. That's the first plate that you make, offer, and then you have your own food, and then after a while, you take that as, what do you call it? It's called as prasad in Hindi, but then you distribute among the people. So it's the leftover of the God, and then you just bless everybody. Is it similar? Is it similar to you?
It's similar in terms of sharing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is. Well, that impulse, right, to share with people.
Yeah.
The other thing that I read about was, on top of the cup for Elijah, there was something that folks do, they fill a cup of water, and they call it Miriam's cup. And I think Miriam figures prominently in terms of when Jewish people in the desert, she either dug a well or she was at a well, and she provided people with water. And it also is important because, like the orange, it makes sure to incorporate the important role of women. This story doesn't always, a lot of the Bible stories don't. So that was another thing that we did. But it's also hard to get through the whole ceremony because people get antsy, there are kids around. I don't know how yours went, but we didn't really finish.
We finished.
Did you?
I love it.
Oh, good.
And we had a lot of guests,
There you
yeah.
go.
Yes, yeah, non-Jewish, a lot of non-Jewish. First aiders for people too, which is fun.
That's great.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Joe.
Not at all. I think it was, it's an important thing, and I welcome folks, please, if there's something going on in your lives like this, please bring it. And whatever the next holiday that you celebrate.
Yeah.
is.
The next one that our family has celebrated is Sunday of Easter, because it follows the Jewish calendar,
It does, in fact.
the Eastern, or the Greek.
How do you celebrate Easter with your family?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I used to visit my grandparents, and then when I got married, we had the Catholic Easter, or the Eastern Easter, the Western Easter. We don't celebrate either one of them very much, but we just sort of have a meal,
Okay.
and we invite all our friends, and no one's doing anything on Greek Easter ever. So we have Jewish people and, all sorts of different groups of people come. And,
A lot of diversity, right?
yes, we have a lot of.
Very nice. Very nice.
And they're not usually that separated, Easter and Greek.
They're not
Easter, right?
usually, and there's been a push by the Greek Orthodox and the Eastern Orthodox to have the Catholics change when they have Easter, but I don't think they're gonna do
I don't know.
That reminds me, when you're talking about Passover, just around this time, just a week ago, there were 9 days of specific, based on the lunar calendar, celebrations where people would not eat meat or grains. And then on the 9th day, you celebrate certain goddess. And then after that, you eat grains. So a lot of people traditionally would do that. I don't think I can restrict myself from eating grains. I don't do that to that level, but my husband does, he can, and my parents used to do it all the time. So I'm just trying to relate the time of the year. It's like
Yeah.
how close, similar to when you're talking about Jewish Passover, 8 days of no bread, and I'm thinking about, okay, 9 days of goddess celebration and no grains and no bread or nothing. So similar, like what a similarity, and that around the same time of the year. So interesting.
It is interesting how
Yeah.
holidays coincide.
Anjali,
Yeah.
sorry, hi, Radhika here. So
Radhika.
just kind of building on that, I was just kind of reading about all of this, and it looks like there's an actual scientific reason why you don't eat or you tend to fast at this time of the year. Normally it's, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the spring, which is, the change of season from winter to summer. And, the body goes from a state of hibernation to, more activity. So you don't want to, kind of jump in on that. And it's a slow way to kind of allow your body to transition. And when you eat a ton of rice and wheat, it makes it difficult for your body to kind of digest, and it takes forever, which is why, at least in the Hindu tradition, instead of eating rice and wheat, we tend to switch to millets at this time of the year. So, there is actually a scientific reason for all of this if you think about it.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Radhika. I had no idea.
That is
Yeah.
interesting. And I think, at least in the middle of the year, there were festivals of lights before Christmas, before Hanukkah, probably because it was so dark. So, all right, well, let's keep all that in mind, and then we can continue to share next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Why don't we move on to the 725 item? We're just there. And unless there's anything else for open forum, this is a quick update. We were at town meeting last month, and because it was so well attended, it was moved to Saturday. I did reach out to Angela and resubmit the friendly amendment, which we plan to make when the time is right on Article 22. And our friendly amendment would, as you know, make the second Monday of October both Indigenous Peoples' Day and Italian American Heritage Day. And sent it over to Angela because that gives folks time to make it into a slide, which will be projected when we make the suggestion. We're looking forward to that happening. I don't know if they'll call the town meeting at a certain time if they haven't gotten through every article, but I did ask Angela the order. She said unless there's a motion to change the order, and unless that's accepted, to understand, then Article 22, which is the last article, will happen when it's going to happen.
And last.
Yeah. So
I've heard that there are people that want to change it to before lunch.
Oh, really?
Really?
So when you say that the motion is in Article
I don't know,
22,
I'm not-
what
I
what's
just-
the
yes.
process of?
It's a good question. It's probably better for other folks. If somebody were to seek that change, they'd have to
It'd have to be accepted by the town.
by the time you.
I don't know if it's majority or 2/3,
Okay,
but it'd be voted on.
okay.
So that would happen at the meeting, someone would come forward to the microphone and ask to change
It's
the order.
possible, it's people are talking about, will happen or not.
But that's the way it would happen. You can-
That's the way all motions, all articles can be moved by motion. So
So we should be there.
it doesn't usually happen. I mean, people don't usually vote to move articles, they don't like to.
Right.
It's happened. I remember it happening one time. It was like a playground or something, or
Yeah.
town road acceptance, or I don't know, there was something that was moved one time.
I see positively, right? If it is moved earlier in the day, then maybe we can actually get home sooner, right? We don't have to be there until the end of the day.
And you have quorum, you get worried at the end of the day that you.
You don't need to keep quorum once you have it.
Oh, you don't?
No.
No.
Majority of
For the-
people, yeah.
The Article 18 is also a big one, which is the MBTA Communities Multifamily Overlay. So that's a
Okay.
big one, that's 18, so.
That just got voted down in Marshfield.
Yeah, and other towns too, I think. Milton. So we sent a letter to the editor, to the WestfordCAT today. It was published, I think, today. And it's very similar to the one that we sent in before, which is urging that people, in the spirit of inclusion, accept this. But what I did do was I added a link to an article written by Jeff Jacoby, which I think was you, Joanna, who pointed it out to me, a Globe columnist who, in 2023, sort of reversed his support for Columbus Day, having done some research about the way that Columbus, even in his own time, was criticized by his patrons, including for the way he behaved, if you will, with the people that he encountered in the call. So that's part of the letter to the editor. We'll also have flyers. We have a big poster, which I wish I had brought. I'll take a picture of it and show you, see if you like it.
And we're
Based on your poster. Yeah, thank you.
There was also an article in WestfordCAT yesterday or today by Dennis Galvin wanting to save Columbus Day.
I saw that. And I actually asked them to put ours in on Thursday. So
Asked him to what, Jeff?
put ours in on Thursday, just in terms of timing.
Yeah.
So, and what we can do is I can reach out to folks who want to get there early. I got there at 7:30 last time. It was raining. What's the weather? Was anybody?
Nice.
Weather was
My
nice.
daughter says like it's a very
65.
sunny day on
Yeah.
Sunday,
Yeah.
and Saturday as well.
So I can send out a couple email folks. I won't send out to more than 2 people at a time. And just to arrange for that, if it feels like that would be effective, I mean, that's I think that's always a question. I need to look at the map to show the places where people can stand.
Yeah, I'm working up with the towers.
Clear at the top. So I'll look at the website and see if we can stand. Folks can.
Is your question, is it worth our while to hand out flyers as people are coming in?
Yeah, I think it's.
Would it be this flyer? Would it be the other
It
flyer?
would be that flyer, probably that flyer. It could be the letter to the editor printed in the form of a flyer. But I think the important thing is you want something that's easily, looked at pretty quickly, and that would probably do it. There are many of those. But, I think it's hard to know what might have an effect on people. I think some people may already have their minds made up. The material that we've already distributed, what we've already said in public. I think what happens is we'll get up and we'll make our case, and that probably will be as important as anything. So Emily and I will offer the friendly amendment, say a few words about why it's important. Other people would be welcome to do that. From what I understand from Angela, that if you do have other people who want to speak in favor, just make sure you're saying something a little bit different. I think that's the main point. Right? So you can repeat, but the chair will quite rightly say this before.
So we do, just in addition to that, we do have support from Women's Voters League.
Yeah.
Remember, I had met with them a couple of weeks ago. They felt very strongly about just keeping it the way it is, versus they didn't even want to vote yes for the amendment. They felt very strongly about just keeping the name as Indigenous Peoples' Day. Then we went back and forth into the discussion on why we are proposing this. We want to be inclusive, we want to create an inclusive environment, and that is why we are proposing. So after a lot of discussion at the end of the meeting, we ended up that they will support the way we will propose.
Oh, thank you for doing that. Thank you. So I would welcome folks, for example, if anybody here is inclined to follow Angela and I, to say a few words about it, please let us know, and we can go over talking points. 4, 5, or 6 that are good. More than that, I'm sure. So now, for the meeting's over or later, let us know. And it's probably a good idea. And even that day, it's fine too. But I think if we need to do more than a couple people, certainly do.
I think that where you're going to be able to hand out stuff is where the letters are at WA. The letters in like that lawn there, the big
Oh, yeah.
letters.
The big W, yeah.
Oh, or something else there. I don't know. Maybe that's just those 2 letters, but those big blocks with the letters on them. By the cafeteria door.
How many of these flyers do we already
People
have?
are not gonna come in, right? People are gonna go directly to the
Hundreds.
field, isn't it, this time? Because
Yes.
everybody's gonna go into the field,
We could
right?
have a couple thousand people there. So,
Yeah.
Right.
So if people are just gonna park and then go directly into the field, then we will
Well,
have
there's
to
also
check.
gonna be buses, like
Right.
last time, buses from, the site park.
Yeah, so they won't be getting into the cafeteria or close by, they would actually go directly into the field instead, because this time it's outside, isn't it?
Right.
So where should we stand to give out the flyers then?
it might be at the town website, right? I think there's a sort of a guide.
Yeah, I think that, sign holding is gonna be at the entrances like it was, like it is at election.
Okay.
If folks are interested in helping with that, let me know. Wendy maybe. And what I'll do is I'll look on the website and find out exactly where, and see if we can maybe show the link in the Saturday. Probably around 7:30 or so.
So this is the updated, outline of with the field as the,
So you've got to go into the
Focus.
entrance, right, because we have to register.
right, so, the disability entrance is down here, and the general entrance is down here, and the sign holder areas
Oh,
are the
it's still
same
way
as
over
they
there.
were.
I see.
And the petition, and
Petition is over here, yeah.
So that could be a place to stand as well.
And this is where the buses are gonna be coming in and out. This is the disability, or, you don't have to have a placard, so it's called accessibility or disability spaces there.
So nobody really passes the sign holder area. I don't,
well, people coming into the.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be driving in.
oh, coming in, that's, well, they could come in, oh, sign holder area, so they're there or there. Okay. So if we want to hand out flyers, can you tell on this map where we would hand out flyers?
Probably the most efficient place would be at these desks, the entrance desks.
No,
And then it's
no,
gonna be teller desks down here.
all the flyers are gonna be handed out with the petition and signature.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Show the signature area.
Mm.
Let's see.
You can't just leave them on the
I'm
table.
just,
Oh.
that's what that area is designated
okay.
for that,
Okay.
that activity.
Okay.
Signature area.
Good to know.
So that's kind of where traffic, people might walk by, but not.
Yeah.
I doubt that. I doubt that people will walk through that area.
Well,
Well, what? They've got
Depends
to
on the
come
parking
past
lot.
the parking lot, past the school to get to the field. So,
And it depends on how many people are in that area, whether they draw people towards it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, why don't we say this on a tentative basis? I'll be there at 7:30. And that's probably long before anybody else can get there and go, but I'll be there then.
Yeah.
did it the last time.
Yeah, and, join me, and we can disperse a little too, maybe some people go to the sign holding. areas as well. That's okay.
Do you want to make more flyers?
I should.
200 is gonna
Don't do much.
Goes by.
not make a dent.
The people that take them might read them.
So
We have that kind of fun.
That's true, and maybe they should. I'll make one, I'll count how many I have. So, that's where we are, I'm looking forward to it, and let's hope. Honestly, when I think I talked to, I'm gonna talk to you about this, when it was Andrew. There are so many things that could happen. The amendment itself can be offered, could be accepted, and then voted on. It could be offered, accepted, but then the amendment voted on, rejected. Then Article 22 would be the thing that they would take up, the original, that could also be rejected. or accepted. So it's really hard to know how it's gonna play out. So, let's see, but I don't think the 3,000 are coming for that, I think they're coming for the other line. All right, anything else on that? You good? Thank you, everybody. Why don't we move on to the Pride event. You can
Yep.
update us quickly, and then on Juneteenth as well.
Yep. So Acton Westford Pride is moving along. I gifted the check to the select board, and as far as I know, I just need to check in with Kristen to see if the check has gone over to, and the signed contract have gone over to Acton to finalize everything. And I believe Acton also wants a statement from Kristen just saying that the select board does support the towns joining in and the Acton Westford Pride event. So I think that's all I have, right now. We're in the early stages of planning.
Let us know at a certain point.
Yep.
You can send us notes or whatever.
Next week I'll be starting to, once kind of letting town meeting,
Yeah.
have it run, because people are very focused on that right now, and then next week I'll be more focused on marketing for Pride.
And you can let us know about, for example, if we can have a table there.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Thank you for leading that.
How many people showed up last time?
So last year it was a rainy day and they ended up having about 300 folks. Which
That's pretty
was
good turnout.
not a bad turnout for a rainy day. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
And then the select board also agreed to the June 19th, Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, so Juneteenth, we're gonna have a flag raising. I did a flyer that I think I circulated to you folks, just to support the event, and we're gonna have a ceremony. I tried to circulate that
Yeah.
to you folks to let you know who I was thinking of inviting, and
Hi, Nancy.
just wanted to make sure that all those were acceptable. I don't wanna, I'm afraid to say everybody's name because I don't wanna miss anybody, but Magali Ronan, Officer Bernadine, who is the school resource officer, Jim
Garcia.
Arciero, Leslie Howard, trying to see if we can get her, she did a huge research project on slavery in Westford. And the reception, I've been talking to the Westford Museum, and they are happy to host us after the flag raising, so we would just proceed, and they can take 60 people. So I think it should be fine and sufficient for the number of people, and they were very welcoming to have that event. They have the doll that is part of the Westford dolls, the one called Peggy,
Mhm.
that is a doll of African-American color. And I know from research and other things I've done in diversity, how important it is for children to have dolls that reflect what they look like in their skin tone.
Their
And-
heritage, right?
Yeah, and if anyone who knows a little kid, they want a little doll that looks like them, whether they be boys or girls, they just very interested in having a little mini me. So, so it is very important to make sure that we recognize the symbolism of the dolls and the skin color of the dolls when we're over at the museum, and I think that'll be interesting to talk about.
And an interesting point is that Ellen Rainville's mother, who was the wife of the minister, started the whole doll thing, making a doll thing as a way of raising money for the church. And that's where some of those dolls that like Peggy and all that, they were made, and they were part of a fundraiser.
What year was that, Scott?
I'm not sure. It was long before I was involved in anything over there, but it was,
Who's Ellen Ring? I should know this.
Ellen Ring was the director of the library.
Yeah, she's like second or third generation Westford, right? Yeah, I think mom's mom might have been with Westford, I don't know.
I think.
She's
I'm not
just
sure.
second generation.
I'm not
She
sure.
might be second.
Ellen went-
I'm sorry, Nancy, go ahead, somebody's.
No, that's okay. Ellen went to Westford Academy. Her parents moved here when her father took over the church ministry. So she's second generation in town, but yeah, she graduated with my brother from Westford Academy.
Thanks, Nancy.
I was just saying, I've lived here in this town for 10 years and I had no idea and no knowledge of all the information that you guys are sharing. So every single time I had this aha moment when I attend this meeting, I'm like, oh, I did not know that. Good.
You haven't even gotten Madonna going.
So, that sounds like a great event.
Dave Christiana is another one that I'm trying to invite to the event as well. He's does all the sculptures in addition to being on the fire department. And he is researching an African-American person who's local from Westford, who served in the Revolutionary War, I believe.
Is that something you could talk about, do you think?
That's what I'm wondering. He's in earlier stages of research, but maybe he can even just chat
What he's looking into.
about what he's learned so far in the museum, and maybe we can find out more.
Right,
So-
that's Caesar Bason. That's who he's researching. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just trying to, I'm just trying to conclude the conversation around the June 19th event that you just talked about. In high level, if you say, do you have the details on what time the event will start, the flag raising and everything else, and how we are concluding? Is there any money involved in that process?
Just me for now. So it'll begin at 9, and I'm assuming the flag raising will end at about 9:30.
Okay.
And then the museum is gonna be open for us to wander over there.
Okay, and no charges by the museum, it will be just free
Nope.
of cost, okay.
Yep.
You are doing a lot of printing, Wendy, right? So are you keeping a track of how much you are spending on the flyers, anything you're creating? Something
I'm
like
just
that now?
sharing them. I haven't started sharing yet because I wanna make sure you folks were all okay
Okay,
with this.
The select board is, right? So,
Yeah,
great. So there'll be a little bit of a speaking program at the flag raising, right?
Yeah.
Especially featuring maybe officials, some of us, but then there'll be other sort of set of talks. Over, sounds like a little bit of.
Yeah.
A little bit of tour.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
so I think it'll be a nice start for our first Juneteenth
Yeah.
flag raising. So this makes me think also about the Armenian Holocaust flag that went up last week. A lot of people were noticing the flag on the common because there's 2 of them and it's very bright colors. And I just heard people on Facebook writing, what's the flag? I'm just curious because it's bright and what's going on. So I did try to reach out to the group that ordered signed the request in front of the select board, and I didn't get a response from them. I know there were some town people, but I didn't feel like that was necessarily appropriate, because I just had seen their names from being at past years' ceremonies for flag raising, so I wanted to, I prefer to go to the source who, was it was like Middlesex County
Right.
Armenian. I don't have the, name of the group, but I would like to try to get in touch with them next week next year, so we can get a little bit more,
Does Nancy have the
Context.
details, Wendy, though? Does Nancy have the details?
No, I was gonna say, Wendy, you answered the naysayers and all the comments on Facebook quite well, and when they went from, thank you very much for that, and was it taxpayer money, I quickly told them it was not, that we donated those flagpoles, so you did a good job on that. Andrea Parnas Sweet is driving home from Boston, and she said she would do whatever you needed for June 19th.
Oh, okay, great.
Is she listening in?
She's asking me I'm texting her.
Oh, thank you.
She's texting and driving, but don't worry.
She's texting and she's speak texting. It's good.
So is Andrea attending, or is she attending? Should I put down as a?
She just offered to speak. That's how I heard that. She offered to speak.
She offered to do whatever you needed, Wendy.
Okay.
She'd be glad to help, she said.
Okay, great.
Nancy's being her proxy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll mark her as present. How's that sound?
I don't think you can unless you can hear her vote, but legally, it's all good.
All right, great one. So, this is something that we should advertise, right, when the time is right. And the hope is that there'll be, a crowd there, right? People from us, and that's right. So, as we get closer, you are so good at advertising, so you certainly keep the lead on that, but, we can support it, we can send a letter to the editor, that sort of thing.
You also have to think about like all the money that people are spending, like you spending money on the printing of these flyers, Wendy spending, and probably will incur some expenses as well in these events. How do you want to go about the reimbursement process? Something to think about and discuss further in the next meeting. What do you think?
Yeah, I think actually there is some money at town
Yeah,
hall for us for that sort of thing. I can confirm that and let people know. I
yeah,
have some
thank you.
reimbursements.
And for that matter, even you, right? You don't want you to spend money from your own pocket.
No, I plan to. So I just don't know the exact process.
Yeah, no problem.
Nancy, do you know the process for reimbursement? Is it as simple as submitting an invoice?
I don't think she heard.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, do you know the process for asking to be reimbursed for expenses related to town activities?
Yes, you have to fill out a warrant and submit it to the finance department, and they will pay it every 2 weeks. They do a warrant.
Okay, great.
Now, the June 19th, and I'm not an expert on this at all, but what I've read is it's a very food-oriented celebration. Is a reception, can I have food? Are people bringing food? Or is there anything like that involved in it? Or
I haven't gotten to that point yet. I was kind of focused on the speakers, and then the reception was gonna be after, and it seems like it's kind of a potluck thing. And certain colors of food are welcome, like red and other things, so if anybody feels knowledgeable, like if you feel knowledgeable, please take the lead on the food area. But otherwise, I will just read up and.
I'll ask my coworkers, probably who have the Black history, right, in the
Yeah.
families, I'll ask them.
Okay.
That is one step. And secondly, from the organizational standpoint, what I have experienced is more of an educational
Yeah,
event on what is the significance of June 19th versus more of the food. But food comes with any kind of celebration. So it doesn't hurt to check on my coworkers either on what happens.
I guess I get more focused on the reason for the celebration.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's an educational moment because initially I didn't understand what that stands for when I, like many years ago. And then more and more of organizations are actually celebrating June 19th and many of them has declared a day off on that day because they want to recognize that day.
Yeah.
Right.
Growth development on that angle.
It's a national holiday.
Mm.
Yeah. That's fine. Well, thanks again for leading that. Any other details you want to share? We'd love to see again, when the flyer's ready, maybe send it
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can make sure it gets posted at the Westford website as well. I'm sure there's no problem with that. Are we all good on this?
I think we're good. Yep.
Looking
And
forward to it.
WestfordCAT and Road and Bush have been very helpful too in terms of wanting to know what's going on in the town and being very willing to share community items. So it's actually a very great time for our community. Maybe the sufferings of the pandemic have gotten us to be more used to seeing things online, and we're getting some media back in terms of WestfordCAT is kind of stepping up as our newspaper and our news of late.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me take a minute to ask how the flyer is doing, making its way from the Department of Public Health.
Oh.
Anybody
I was
has any
gonna take a
observations?
photo of it.
Okay, take a look. I'll take a photo, and if anybody's got observations, we can entertain those. This is a legacy.
No, I didn't. Yeah, you're right. So the next item is multicultural calendar, and I know Wendy, you were actively working on it. So we had completed the multicultural calendar until the end of this year. And the goal is to do it now from January to March of next year, and we have not even actually picked it up again. How about I schedule a meeting in another 2 weeks with the working group, we come together, and then we also take on these responsibilities one at a time.
Mhm.
Each person can take on 1 month each, and then start building the future months as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
And as Seema's mentioned, it should be easier the second time around,
yeah,
since we are updating and just making sure we are comprehensive.
yeah.
In that spirit of actually talking about setting a meeting, I did not set a meeting with the mission statement committee, but perhaps we can do a little bit of that. See if we can set a meeting for that process. And we agreed that we would get together ahead of a DEI committee meeting, and we would work out maybe some samples or maybe the elements of a mission statement that we would bring back to the group, based certainly on our charge, but also on experience.
The owls turned into a dog.
Sorry.
Angela,
I think Angela and I and Joanne, I think you two, Wendy, we're going to be on the mission statement. Oh, and Madonna too, right?
There were quite a few people. I think I had.
Joe, Joanne, Pat, Wendy, Mary, Claire, Madonna, and Cynthia.
How many people are there?
7.
I think you guys are enough. Take my name off if you can, please. I think you all are enough. So
The name's not on it.
my name is not on there.
I know.
Okay, I think I heard my name. I'm like,
I
pretty
said
sure
your-
I had my
I
name
said your
out.
name.
Pretty sure I said my name.
No, that would have been 8, so now we're back to 7.
Okay, I'm glad.
So who is it again, Joe?
You, me, Pat, Wendy, Mary Claire, Madonna, and Cynthia.
Yeah. Have it on here. Why don't we could just quickly come up with a couple dates to share with them, if we could try that.
Mhm.
And let's say that week of the 13th of May, if that's possible. We could, after, dinner is better for me, it's hard for me on the work day. So week of the 13th,
May.
of May, yeah, in the evening, so Monday's the 13th. That week looks good for me. Those nights,
We do the 13th and the 15th, right?
we could do.
Not the 13th.
Or we can do this online. Yeah. Oh, no, you wanted to do it.
13th and 15th, 13th and 15th.
15th would work for me.
You too?
Yeah, 15th will work for me. I'll be back.
Why don't we say the 15th? Hopefully.
Something else.
And it would be most helpful for us to bring like some thoughts, ideas.
So, and I just said we could do this virtually, but Joanne, what's your thought in person?
No, I
better?
think in person. I've actually got flip charts. I don't have a easel, but I have flip charts.
So maybe,
Yeah, they look- I think in person would be best. In front of our houses.
yeah. We found a house in this room.
Wait, in this room.
We did this room later, so. Let's see, did you say Cynthia? Hi, Cynthia, how are you?
Hi, hello, everyone. Doing
Cynthia,
well.
we just were talking about the mission statement. I believe you volunteered to be on the mission statement.
Yeah,
committee.
I thought you were gonna have a meeting in between now and then. I actually meant to email you about that.
Yeah, I totally dropped the ball on that, but we just set up a meeting on May 15th in the evening. And we hope that that works.
We just need to check with
Are you
Pat.
gonna do like 7 o'clock or something?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe 7 to 8:30.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could do that.
All right, so we just need a location. I know, yeah. Is it easy to book this room?
yeah, I booked it 2 hours ago.
If you have 7 people, you're gonna have a quorum.
Are you gonna do a Zoom meeting or in person?
No, I think in person
Well,
would be
we could- that's-
better.
we
Can you
just
make it
announced
live?
Okay,
Yeah,
so it doesn't have to be open.
Can you make it
but
live,
we just
Cynthia?
have to,
On that
we have to
night?
say, we have to, but,
I don't, yeah, that's all I'm doing, mentioning that. I don't know,
But
I
it's
don't know
a
what you
point.
have to do.
no, you're right, we have to, whenever we have a meeting that's more than, it's quorum, I think 7 is, we would need to just ask their folks at town hall to post it. But we did it
Joanne's
before.
trying to ask a question, I think.
Oh, I just want, Cynthia, can you make that meeting live in person? Can you make that meeting in person?
I can, I need to know the exact time so that I can schedule, so that I can finish work in order to do that. It's easier to jump out of work and onto Zoom for me, but I can schedule it so I can be in person if you want to do in person.
Yeah, I think 7 to 8:30. I think we should go for in person if we can. I think we'll get more
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, 7 o'clock is great.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, perfect.
Very good, and we'll see each other, hopefully here in this room, I'll reach out to town hall and schedule.
I will reach out to Pat and Mary Claire to let them know that's the date.
Very good, thank you. Thank you. All right, so this is this just came together today. Tomorrow at 4:30, gentleman Rob Lyken from the American Jewish Committee could join me and if you're available, or you, Joanne, at the WestfordCAT studio for a podcast about anti-Semitism. And we talked about that last time. It just took a while to learn about Rob's schedule and also to see if WestfordCAT can zoom him in. Yeah. So I'll be there. If either of you want to join, that'd be great.
What's what time?
It's 4:30 tomorrow, late in the day. And it'll be a half-hour conversation. Rob is a bit of an expert when it comes to anti-Semitism and what we can do about it and about intolerance. So we thought it was appropriate given the time of year. So I'll be there for 30 minutes. Joanna.
I'm sorry, I can't, I just have a back-to-back meeting at that point
Oh,
in
that's-
time. I wish, I mean, I could have zoomed in if I didn't, but I do, I'm so sorry about that.
No,
I think it might be maybe more effective to just have you and him.
we
You
could,
know, see the value of throwing another person. So you have any questions?
third set of eyes. I do.
Maybe we talk about some questions and then maybe you can put it down. And if you have any feedback, Joanne, if you want to add a few questions to it, that probably will be helpful as well. So I like your idea, what you're saying is just between Joe and
Yeah,
him.
pretty very intimate and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
gives him a real platform to
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah, I like that idea.
If anybody has any questions, please offer them to me, email, but I'd appreciate it. Yeah, all right. That's how we'll proceed. Thank you. So we have a little new business. We're at the 8 o'clock item, and we are at 8 o'clock basically.
Wow, we are on time.
Crazy. So I'll let Angelique take this one, or I'll ask Angelique to take this one.
Yeah, sure, thank you, Joe. So, last 1 year has been an honor to be a co-chair of this particular committee. I and Joe, I think we got closer and we have a great relationship. Probably we didn't really know about each other before we were partners in crime together.
Until
right?
Madonna said you guys should be co-chairs, right? Yeah, that's
Ah.
Yes, that was her proposal.
right.
So coming back to it, it's pretty much close to 1 year now, right, in June. And we are thinking that if anyone is interested to pursue a path to leadership, so there are two ways to look at it. One is, if anyone is interested to be a co-chair, then the process is to send your nominations to Andrea. She has offered to help us out in this process, right? She will collect the names and your interest, and then we will review in the next town meeting on take the votes. That's one way to look at it. And proposal was, the decision was, I and Joe both, I'm speaking for you, Joe, sorry.
We talked.
So we both wanted to continue 1 more year just for the continuity on all the action that we had taken this year. So remain co-chair for the next 1 year, and then utilize this time to prepare anyone who is looking forward to a leadership 1 year down the road. So what will happen is, if anyone says, hey, I want to be a co-chair next year, then we will involve that person in just how to set the agenda, how frequently we meet, and that could be really an active role so that they are not starting from scratch and scrambling. I mean, we got really good support from Andrea, Anita, Nancy, and we were set up for success. So we want to make sure that we are setting up people who will rise to these occasions to be the co-chairs a year down the road, and they are also setting up we are setting them up for success as well. That being said, question is, Nancy, if you would, again, we didn't touch base with you, so my apologies. If you would like to again continue your running as a vice chair, we would happy to, right? We would happy to your partnership in your current position. And again, if you decide to continue, then please do send your name to Andrea as well. And again, as I said, anyone else wants to really pursue either any of these roles or want to be on the leadership path, provide your name and nomination to Andrea. I think we should probably send a follow-up email to everyone as well, because we don't have a great attendance today. And at least that will hit everybody's inbox, and then it was like, yeah, go ahead.
Can you just explain to me, as far as chair and co-chair, each position, how long the term is? Because I belong to another organization and they have 2 years that you serve, and then then you have to elect another person.
Yeah.
I'm sure each group has something different. So could you just tell me how this works?
Yeah, that's a
Typically,
good question.
yeah.
That's a good
Typically,
question.
it's 1
So
year.
yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
So typically in Westford, it's a 1 year term. And then you posted on the agenda that they'll be taking nominations at the next meeting for chair, co-chair, vice chair. And then you would come to the next meeting, and if you were interested, Cynthia, you would say, I would like to be considered for chair, vice chair, or I would, and I intend to say, I'm going to nominate Anjali and Joe to continue for another year. And then you would vote. So that's typically the way it's done on a yearly basis.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've been involved in a lot of different groups, and even some bylaws say it's 1 year, but my experience I found is that usually the leadership team stays for 2. They're-
Yeah, Tom Mahana has been the chair of Permanent Town Building Committee for 8 years, and every year we continue to vote him back in. And, you know, there's no limit to how long you can be voted in as chair and vice chair, but the term is usually a year.
Yeah, I think it's a practical matter. I think the idea of continuity makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, yeah.
But at the same time, Angela, which when we spoke before, made a really strong point that it's important to sort of develop a path for other folks. So.
And Joe, were you the chairman last year, or is this a new position for you this year?
Angela and I started together almost a year ago. Yeah.
Okay, so 1 year for each of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Before that, I was a secretary, maybe part-time secretary, I would say, because we were rotating the roles, so we had 2 or 3 secretaries, Cynthia, and we were responsible for just taking the minutes and posting them online, and we were actually tagging the team together, so that's what I did.
okay, thank you.
Great. So we'll send out a note to everybody else explaining what we talked about today. We'll also indicate that we'd be honored to continue, but at the same time, folks can send in nominations to Andrea.
So is there a nomination committee that puts
No.
forward who they?
No.
No.
No? Okay.
No,
You can nominate yourself, as Nancy just said, you can nominate yourself, or anybody else can nominate you.
Okay.
Yeah, Madonna has been nominating like me twice, right? Initially for the secretary, that's how I started, and then she said, why don't you be the chair? And I said, okay, let's think about it. So, yeah, so other people can nominate you as well.
Okay, so what's the process for nominating someone else?
that's
You can just
easy. You say, I
nominate you,
nominate
you
you.
accept it or not, right? Is it
You would-
Nancy?
You would nominate, I guess you, would- but that has
Just-
to be.
Andrea. Send it to Andrea.
And we'll outline that, and she said she would collect those. Some organizations have a nominating committee.
Yeah, that's why,
Yeah.
Toastmasters
Toastmasters
has a nominating committee, and then they go through all those names, positions, and their processes.
bring forward a slate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was appropriate to reach out to Andrea as the liaison to the select board, or committee of the select board, and so that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All right, so that's how we'll proceed.
Will we take the nominations on the floor as well when we do the election day? I think we will, right? So on that day, let's say if there has been enough nominations, but still, if someone feels, oh, I want to still nominate XYZ, let's say I want to nominate Scott, and Scott says, no, I want to nominate Madonna, so you can nominate on the floor as well.
Oh, yeah, I think that's part of the problem. I think that's what happened. Anita ran this last time. I think that's what happened last time.
Scott is a lot.
Well, thank you. Unless there are any questions about that, we can move on to the minutes.
Yeah.
So we have 2 sets of minutes in front of you. One from July of 2023. I believe Sina sent it to the whole group, honestly. And then one set from the last week, March 24th. Since there are just 2, we don't have to necessarily take them in a group, we can take them in order. If folks had a chance to review them, assuming that we have. Does anybody want to move acceptance of the July 26, 2023 minutes?
So moved.
Scott moves, any second?
Anjali.
July 2023. Any changes, adjustments for those minutes? I'm hearing none. Let's call for the question. Usually for minutes, we just ask for a yea or nay. All those in favor of accepting those minutes?
Yeah.
please say
Yeah.
aye. All those opposed, nay? Any abstentions? Very good. Let's move on to the March 28th, 2024 minutes, the last meeting. Again, thanks Wendy for these, and I don't know who did the July 2023 minutes, but we'll thank that person too. So the March 2024 minutes.
Sorry, going back, even though we did that,
Oh, okay.
it's the March meeting minutes, and
Yeah.
there has to be a correction.
Right.
The confirmed next meeting date has to be of April, not of May 29. Last one.
Oh, look, it's April 24th. All right, okay. So that's one change. For the March minutes, the reference to the next meeting, we corrected, which is this one. So let's move acceptance, and then we can see if there are any other corrections. Scott, thank you. Any other second?
Second.
Okay, Angela. Any other corrections or additions, subtractions? Those minutes. And now we'll call a question. All those in favor of accepting the minutes? Say yes.
Aye.
All those opposed? And any abstentions? All right, very good. All right, thank you all for that. And we'll confirm our next meeting. I have written down May 29th. Is that a Wednesday? Are you sure? Sometimes.
Twenty-ninth is a Wednesday.
Wednesday, 29th. All right. So we'll meet again then. There'll be some meetings in the interim.
Do you want to review these minutes?
We'll
The
just-
minutes? This one as well?
The 29th is the fourth Wednesday of May, because it's a 5 Wednesday month. Is that still the date that you want to set? Actually, I had it on my calendar for the 22nd, I'm still out of town, but
Yeah, basically, we do it in the last Wednesday, so it's possible
The
that
last
it
Wednesday.
has 5 Wednesdays that month.
okay.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, you're right, 5 Wednesdays.
5 week month.
And then June 26th will be the one after.
And so May 29th then? That's it. Is there anything else before we adjourn?
I just have a quick, so is May 27th the long weekend?
It is.
So if it is a long weekend, will we have people here around for Wednesday? I'm just a little concerned about the attendance.
That's a good question.
I will be around, but my son graduates 2 days later and all my family's coming in Wednesday, Thursday, so I'm not 100% sure I'll make it.
Not sure.
Bring them, all right.
So do we want to go like a week before on 22nd, and then, what do you think?
We could do, I'm available. Does that feel right to people, that the 27th would be an issue for some folks? That we.
The 27th of May, are you talking?
Be second.
No, so we are saying, Cynthia, that 29th is right after May 27th, which is the long Memorial Day long
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
So we may
So you
not
wanna
have
be-
enough presence, right? So can we do that a week before?
The 22nd, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, that's what yes, that's fine.
Okay,
What about Nancy?
Nancy? yeah?
Yep.
Madonna?
Yeah, I think it works for most of us.
All right, later that holiday, we will meet on the 22nd.
Okay.
Very good.
And just early.
So relatively speaking, if there's anything else together, anything else? All right, great. Well, it's good to see everybody, those of us here and online. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay,
Mhm.
sorry I missed the beginning part.
Oh, glad you joined. All right, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. we'll
Take
see you.
care. Have a good night.
Was